All right, like Ken said, my name is Zach Wise. I'm one of the 11 a.m. Small group leaders here with Ignite. I'm really excited to be here talking with you today. I love fall. I get so much more energy this time of year, especially when the Buckeyes pull off that victory, which I did not think they were going to do last night, but they did by one. Doesn't matter. It's still a win. But we're starting a new series here called Rooted. So this topic that we're going to be talking about is a topic that we can all relate to. We're talking about change. And change is something that everybody experiences pretty much every day out of their life. But I don't really need to tell you guys about change because in middle school, you guys experience all sorts of changes. You guys are like experts on changes because at this phase in your life, you're starting to get more independence. You guys are trying new things. There's changes that are happening at school. There's changes that are happening with your friends, with your families. You guys are changing. You guys aren't the same people that you were yesterday. And just with all of these changes, I think there's a couple ways that we kind of handle change. There's the camp or the side that goes, why do things have to change? I like how things are. I don't like change. Things should just remain the same. The 8th grade, getting ready for high school. My best friend, his dad got a new job, moved away, like 3 hours away. He wasn't going to be there when I started high school. That was like a change that I was looking at where I was like, this is not something I'm looking forward to. What's this going to mean for me? It was kind of like a scary, intimidating change. But there's exciting changes that happen too. There's new things that you try. The only thing that I can guarantee you is no matter how you feel about change, it's going to happen. I can 100% guarantee you that there'll be exciting changes that happen in your life, and I can also guarantee you that there's going to be some changes that you're not so excited about either. The other thing about change is, it's always been this way. People have had to deal with change or experience change throughout all of history. I've experienced it my whole life, you'll experience it your whole life, and the people who wrote the Bible were experiencing it too. So, if we're wise, we'll look to the Bible for advice on how to handle things. So what does the Bible offer us to help us deal with change? Well, there's an author in Hebrews who gives us this passage that says, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Okay? So what's that really saying? It's telling us that in a world where everything seems to change and that nothing seems constant, that there is a constant, and that constant is God. God never changes. His love for us, His attributes, His promises will always remain the same. So how does the fact that God remains the same and never changes help us deal with our change? Because we have to deal with change. We see it every day of our lives. So how does this fact about God help us? Well, I want you to think of God as kind of like an anchor, right? So when you have a boat out on the water is constantly changing. It's constantly moving. There's currents, there's waves, there's things happening. But when the boat's connected to an anchor, it doesn't get thrown around by those changing waters. And it's like that for us. When we're anchored to Christ, when we're anchored to our relationship with God, even though there's changes happening around us, we can remain steady by being connected to God. Another good example is like a tree. And this is probably a better example. So trees have roots, right? You guys know that. You're smart kids. You've done it in science class. So trees have roots. But the thing about trees is trees are these huge structures that can be around for hundreds of years. And they can face all sorts of changes around them. They can deal with high winds, just tons of changes. But they can remain steady because they have these deep roots in the ground to hold them steady. And it's like that, like Jesus being an anchor for us, like Jesus being our roots. When we're connected to Him, we can remain steady. But also like roots, when we're connected to God, we can be nourished by Him. There's this verse in Psalms that says, they are like trees planted along the riverbank, bearing fruit each season. Their leaves never wither, and they prosper in all they do. Not only when we're connected to Jesus are we steady and secure, but we also can be nourished by Him. So when times are hard, when changes aren't what we'd like, we can continue to bear fruit and prosper because we're anchored to something steady. God never changes, and we can rely on Him. So what do I want you to do? I want you to think back, because you guys have had some experiences in life now. I want you to think of a time when God was faithful to you. I want you to think of a time when things were changing or things were happening, but God came through for you. A time when you could really feel God's love and presence in your life. Now, the cool thing about God never changing and remaining consistent throughout life is if He was faithful for you then, because He never changes, He will always be faithful to you. His love for you will never change. He will always be there for you. And that is an awesome thing to go through life knowing. Because when everything else changes, God just never changes. So we're going to be going into our small groups, and we're really going to be digging into this deeper. And I want you guys to think about what things are changing in your life right now. And I'm sure there's a lot of them. There's probably some exciting things, there's probably some scary things. But I want you to think about what's changing in your life right now, and how can your relationship with Jesus Christ and God help you get through those changes. Okay? So we're going to take a quick 2-minute break, let you guys reset, think about this topic, and then break down into our small groups.